We're singing. We'll end that now.
Yeah, that's not how we should start. I am just walking in the door, so Shell is gonna kick us off. But hey, why don't we take a second and drop in the chat just something that you're thankful for?
Yeah.
What you're thankful for going into this week. Gratitude will save you more often than not. Just drop in the chat something you're grateful for, something you're thankful for. Even if sometimes it feels like everything's falling apart. We opened our eyes, maybe we turned on the water this morning and we're able to brush our teeth. Um, put our feet on the floor and walk and move and breathe. Maybe you laughed today, smiled. That's always a blessing. Drop that in the chat. And then, Shell, if you want to get rocking and rolling, I'm gonna grab my stuff.
Sounds like a plan. God showing me things I want to have you with that. I'm thankful for. Oh my gosh, that is so stressful, Cassie. He gives me visions and I love. Oh, I love that. Strength to leave a relationship that wasn't straight. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Husband gets to me. Oh, yeah, that's brutal. Thankful for God for this group. Oh, you guys are so sweet.
God will reward that exponentially
Haha, Lucy.
in an atmosphere and in a situation where it is easier to stay, but you know that you will never get to your God-given potential
Yep.
by remaining in it. That is one of the most bold things you can do, and life is going to get a lot better from that. It's really hard to get healthy in an atmosphere that's also poisoning you.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a beautiful thing. Be so proud of yourself.
Thankful for my husband for putting up Chris. Oh my gosh, me too. So grateful for the opportunity to bring my daughter home from public school. Oh, that's amazing. Thankful for life and this breath. True gift.
And sometimes the days are hard and that's all we got, right? Like,
Ah,
hey,
yeah.
listen, I woke up, I made it through another day. You know, I'm alive, I'm well, I'm breathing, I can open my eyes and
Just the
I can
health of those
move.
simple things.
Oh, that we take for granted so often, you know?
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to, I know I always am like writing something out of something, but like for me, I just love like Taylor years ago really opened me up to devotional. So whenever I see one that hits, I just like to share them. One of the ones I wanted to read actually was from part of this week's reading, so I feel like it goes along with kind of like what's fresh in our minds. So I'll just start there and then we can just go from there if everyone's cool with that. So this one says, this is in the Judges book, and we finished that this week, which was super cool. A long history of short-sightedness. As a kid, I remember thinking how great it would be to do whatever I wanted. No rules, no curfew, nothing between me and my freedom. I couldn't understand why all the do's and don'ts were necessary. So I danced around the edges of rebellion in those early years. I was preacher's kid after all, and naturally, I felt compelled to help my pastor expand his credibility on the topics of long suffering and grace. I'd ever so lightly tiptoe over the line, convinced those boundaries were cramping my style. Today, I'm thankful for my parents' boundaries that wouldn't budge. Looking back, I realized my view of freedom was severely short-sighted. Scripture tells this story over and over again since the fall of humanity. Our sin-stained hearts have fought restlessly within the boundaries of God's commands, pinning after a woefully shallow definition of freedom. Woefully, I meant.
Shelly. Shell. I wonder if her computer died or something. She'll be back. Hey! Well, I can read some of mine that I was reading this morning. Um, and and then we'll just get back into it. But one of the devotionals that I really like, it's called The Battles Women Face. And we as women, oh, there she is. Hey girl, you there?
Oh gosh, my computer died.
I knew it.
Didn't even know it was dying.
You were really getting somewhere too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go.
Where did I? Okay, let me go back to where I left off because that really threw me for a little loop. Do you guys remember even what I said? Hopefully. Okay. The law of the Lord was etched deep into Israel's heritage, permitting every aspect of their daily lives, yet their hearts remained restless, their vision short sighted. They tested their God given boundaries time after time, and with each taste of freedom, grew more fascinated with the darkness beyond. So God gave them over to their depravity in Judges 21:25, the kind of verse that sends chills down my spine. In those days, there was no king in Israel. Everyone did whatever seemed right to him. It's sobering to realize the end result of getting what we want. The Israelites chose worldly pleasures over eternal rewards, selfish ambition over godly purpose, powerless idols over the one true God. Freedom was defined as everyone doing whatever seemed right to them. No rules, no consequences, no king. The root of their rebellion is found in the first part of this verse. There was no king in Israel. Joshua was dead. Moses, a distant memory. The judges appointed by God couldn't seem to get organized. In the absence of strong spiritual leadership, the people floundered. In their arrogance, they refused to recognize the authority of the kings of kings. In the midst of self inflicted chaos, they forgot who had been leading them all along. The chapter of Israel's story ends in a tangle of blind ambitions and worthless pursuits. Everyone acted freely, yet none of them experienced the true freedom that they longed for. We dare not to read this narrative with any sense of superiority or pride. Left to our own devices, we too are bent towards willful rebellion. Laws and boundaries were never intended to save us, but they do serve an important role in our salvation. They revealed the short sighted nature of our humanity and the point to our desperate need for a savior. Even now, the King of Kings offers true freedom to anyone who embraces his mercy and bows down to his leadership, lordship. For me, I just felt like in Judges, it was like really eye-opening. It's just like as I think human nature and just like in our flesh, we're constantly chasing things of this world. And sometimes we don't, most of us don't get it until we get it or we really see it. And it's like people think, oh, like if I just have this, I'll be happy. If I just have this, I'll be happy. If I just keep praying for these things, I'll be happy. And it's like, I think when you really hunker down and you just focus on having gratitude for what you've already been giving, and then your focus being trying to build your relationship with Him, He knows the desires of your heart and all of those things that you are longing for that maybe you want so deeply he will give to you. He just needs you to focus. And it's like they couldn't focus on him. They were so focused on like creating what they wanted in their earthly minds rather than what they could like potentially gain by just not only acknowledging that he was the one doing everything that they needed or that they wanted or all the blessings that were happening in their life. It's like we do that time and time again. It's like we think like we want to take the reins or we want to have control over so many things in our lives, and we don't realize that if we just like bring it to him and turn it to him and try and like walk with somewhat of an obedience in trusting him and having that deep-seated faith that all of our desires will come to fruition, or maybe our desires will shift. And I think that's something that I noticed really deeply is like once I really just like hyper focused on him rather than so many things that I just felt like I was endlessly grinding for, the fulfillment becomes so rewarding in a way that you can't even imagine, that like you don't crave certain things anymore the same. And I know that like either some of you will totally grasp that and others may not understand that quite yet, and that's normal because I wouldn't have understood that prior, but you will with time and with it's like the free fall, right? It's like someone's behind you and you know that they're going to catch you, but like I don't know, what if they don't? So you're just afraid to have that blind faith, but it's in those times of having that blind faith that so many things change. So
Whatever you are trying to keep control of, you're hijacking from him being able to do anything. Whatever we surrender is what he is able to strengthen. Whatever we surrender completely, that is the only time then that he is able to fully operate and help us with that scenario. If we're trying to hold on to the control with something, if we think that we're in control of, somebody's walk and I'm gonna push them into faith. Listen,
never
if
works.
somebody doesn't want to go to church with you, maybe they don't have any desire to step into a church building. Maybe they'll never run into a church building, but they can run into you.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is that we get to kind of be that example, right? But we have to release entirely the control and whatever it is that you're praying on or praying for until you surrender it, he can't do what it is that he wants to do with it. He can't. So you're simultaneously being like, please help me, but I'm also going to panic about it and worry about it and overthink it and also put my hands in the pot and constantly no, just same
Or
with our kids,
well,
parenting. We have to, that's the biggest thing that I had to learn, especially with my oldest, is the more I tried to control, that's not my job. I'm here to guide, mentor, lead by example, and also be a steward of her. So I had to fully release, which is very scary as a parent, but it's the best thing for our relationship that I've ever done.
and even when you're praying, it's also having almost like I don't want this to sound like rude, but like realistic prayers. You can't be like, Lord, if you just give me $1 million, like I swear I'll do good by it, but then you're not actively trying to work for those things. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and if you're not actively working for it, he's like, "Girl, I'd love to make you a millionaire. I can't actually do that
Yeah.
because you haven't yet developed the skill sets that you're going to need to steward that money well. I want to give you that blessing. He wants to show off in your life. Everything under the sun. He doesn't want anyone to be struggling all the time and not walking in their purpose. However, we cannot even get to that, and he wants to do all of those things that we're praying for, but he's like, you're not understanding. You're trying to take a shortcut and override the process, and the process is what I'm walking you through right now. The patience you're going to need, the self discipline you're going to need, the strength you're going to need. And yeah, in order to gain strength, I have to have a lot of like kind of chaotic things happen. But the more that you push through, you're developing this muscle. And that person that comes on the other side of that is who is going to be getting that blessing. Because if I gave it to you too soon, you're not going to steward it well. You're going to go and blow that millie. You think that you're not, you are. Because you haven't developed the skill sets yet that he needs you to develop in order to handle the blessings. So you have to fall in love with the process and fall in love with the journey and the refinement. And it hurts and it burns. Okay. Oh my gosh, it really burns. And we have to. And we're strong enough to deal with it. He doesn't say you'll never be thrown into a fire. He actually says, no, you'll be in a ton of fires, but I am in it with you. It's not going to permanently damage you. It's going to feel a little painful in the moment, but it's necessary for who you are about to become and what I want to do in your world.
And the people that you are going to impact. There's certain things Taylor's walked through that I could never even have conversations about with people. There's things I've gone through she would never have conversations with people about. All of our stories are so intricate and detailed and different because we are supposed to be able to connect with all different walks of life in different ways. But also just like from that specific reading, it was like, to me it's like so simple. You're just like, how do they not see it? How do they just keep turning their blind eye towards him? But if you think about it, that's what the majority of people, myself included, I've done it. You just you may think like, well, I'm praying to him and this and that, but like you're also turning a blind eye to him constantly by doing maybe the opposite things of like what you're actually praying for, or maybe you're just not fully seeing him and the ways that he is moving in your life, and they completely were just what is the word I'm looking for? It's like uh idolizing people that of the earth instead of him. You know what I mean? And if you just keep him at the focus, and you're trying to reach him and connect with him and talk to him, your life will change day by day.
And anything, like people think idol has to be like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with celebrities. Not like that. Anything that you are, that is distracting you or
Mm-hmm,
you're putting in the place of being more important than him is an
hmm
idol. That could be your phone, that could be a relationship, that could even be your marriage. It goes God
hmm
and then everything else. There's nobody that you answer to other than him. And to me, I really like the way that that works, okay? Because I don't like listening to nobody. All right. I'm like, did God say that? No, he didn't. Screw you. Love ya, but I don't gotta listen to you. You're not my maker. You are not who I answer to. You are not who calls the shots in my world. So anything for a lot of people, it's their phone. It could be a friendship. It could be a TV show. I mean, if you haven't, opened up your Bible yet or checked in with him yet, but because you really want to watch that show, well, then that would be idolizing something. It's anything that you are putting in front of your relationship with him. And so, just like anything else, it would be really difficult. How healthy of a relationship would you have with your kids if you just checked in with them and then just didn't bother with them for a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks? Would that relationship be healthy? What about your spouse? Like, could you just be like, when I feel like it, I'll just like, hey, when I'm really going through something, I'll come to you. But like, other than that, I'm just honestly, all these other things are going on. I'm just really not. What would the quality of that relationship be? So, the amount of times that you pour into that relationship with him, that's what breeds that closeness, that relationship, that tangibility, knowing he's right there. And so you do have to take that time. It might not always be that you're on a structured plan and doing my week was crazy last week. So I'll be the first one to admit that there's a lot of these passages I didn't get to, but there was not one single day that not just I checked in with him. I cannot be walking through so many different things in my days right now without him everywhere I go. I'm like, homie, come along the ride. Okay. I'm gonna need you. Your girl's fragile right now. Okay. And so there's never not gonna be a day that I don't check in with him because he's right there. He's just right there. I just need to know he's right there. That's all I need. Right.
Yeah, and it's just like becoming so grounded in that, and being part of the day will shift things. And even when you guys have like background noise of people maybe like mocking you or breaking you down or making you feel a certain kind of way because you're spending certain time on this, or that you're valuing this a certain way, or that you're being a little more bold about it, like
Who has gotten scoffed at so far? Like in this kind of like trying to dive in a little bit more, coming on these calls, like just trying. Who has had any like scoffing? Drop it in the chat. Just, those little kind of, it's a little smug. It's just a little, maybe there's conversations you're trying to pivot. You're trying to be a little more like healthy in an atmosphere. And they're just kind of like, oh, like, okay, like, cool. That tends to happen to a lot of different people. And if it hasn't yet, it's time to get a little louder. Because if you got to be a little louder because it's going to come, but you've really got to be very vocal about what it is that you need to change in your life because at the end of the day, we only get one. And we should probably maximize it because it's not just here to exist.
and if people say things, it's typically stemming from a different place. It's almost like an insecurity, and most likely those people will come around. For me, you guys, literally like my dad was mocking me a couple days ago.
Hmm.
He called me a Bible thumper and was like making fun of me. So like it can be anybody. It can be people that like I thought like, hey, like that's I thought it'd be cool. Like I could be a drug addict, but like what all right,
For
like
a lot of people, for me in my world, it's believers. It's it's like you start to feel like, well, sh I can't really talk about him because I'm like in a tank top and maybe my boobs are kind of big and this, that, and the other, right? It's like everybody, it looks a little different the way that Satan, because that's all that you're dealing with ever, 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 ever. It's not people, it's
mhm.
people allowing Satan to utilize their tongue and their mouth, whatever is going on internally in them, and he'll utilize them as the vessel to cause harm on you. And he knows your pain points. He
Mhm.
knows what's going to trigger you. He knows what's going to make you feel not worthy. He knows what's going to make you feel small. He knows what's going to, he knows. It's
Well, yeah,
never God. That person holds no value, but they're not strong. And so they have an opening within them and all their wounds for Satan to come in and be like, I'm going to utilize your voice right now to just jab at her real quick, to make her question herself, to make her this. And that's how
silence.
it operates. And so you don't look at that person and say, wow, you're awful. You're just like, you are so weak on the inside right now and frail and sick that Satan can very easily just hop in and utilize you to hurt me. And I see that and I feel that. And I'm not going to let it because that's not what God says about me.
Well, and it's so intentional, it's like
Oh yeah.
it's always a them problem rather than a you problem.
Oh, it's never you.
And it's something that it's just him trying to silence you because well if you keep talking about it the more people might be a little more interested and the more people might be turning their lives around or more people might be coming to him and that is the absolute opposite of what he wants so he's
Because
gonna
he sees the domino, right? It's like, wait, 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 wait. If she keeps talking, wait, 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 wait. This person is about to come into her sphere and she's about to say something to this person, and this person's also powerful. And if God gets a hold of this person too, wait a second, then that's 30 people. That could possibly be an entire generation, an entire family that I've held bound. That one little seed could wait, nope. Let's let's jab her, let's slow her down, let's halt her, let's throw some rocks at her. And it sucks at first, but eventually you get really good at dodging rocks.
yeah poor Taylor
I'm not I'm dodging boulders. Okay. I'm just like ta ta ta. But it's just because you don't take offense. You know that it's not people and you know that it's not truth. And so and the
and
stronger that you
yeah
get in the truth, the better.
there's usually a backstory to it, and that's the part that, like, for me, oh, it was definitely a gut check when my own dad is like literally making fun of me. But then I also was like, he grew up in Catholic school where it was very abusive. It was a very it's one of those typical things that just ruined his relationship with God
He
from
views God as pain, as torture, as torment, as bad, as like, and so it goes into protective mode. So he's just like, it'll temper, you know?
you know, it was like they were putting his hands on the desks and smacking him with rollers and making him wear hats that like um it was like a different word but it meant like they were stupid, like things like that. It was very 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 like just awful, right? So that's where his is stemming from, and he's a challenging person. So to me it was like, oh, but then at first it was a gut check a little bit because it hurt my feelings, but then it also made me like almost want to just continue to shed light on in such a different way for those yep, that's the word, in such a different way for the people who have had maybe a similar experience as he did, and show them like that wasn't God. Like that is the typical religion that people stray away from that ruins the experience or the relationship for people. And it just like, I went from the gut check and the emotional kind of like, ugh, to okay, well, you know what? The more that I just continue to show like the light and love of him, the more people that have similar stories like my dad will maybe open their minds up a little bit again. And then at the end of the conversation, he like ended up making a joke like, "Well, just pray for me." And I know deep down he wants that. He's just something else, but we won't go into that. So but it is like, it's stemming from somewhere else. And that's where a lot of these people are coming from. It's stemming from either an insecurity of never having the relationship, or it's stemming from a religion that has ruined the relationship for them, or, it's not a you thing. And just like at my church, they were saying, the best way to bring people to Christ is by being that light and love. It's not by shoving it down someone's throat. It's not by telling them what they need to do. It's not by telling them what they're doing wrong. It's not by telling them they're not doing enough. It's just by walking your own walk and hoping to inspire them to jump alongside of you. I see Shay on here. If you want to pop in and say anything, I know you went through some Catholic stuff too. So, mm,
Um, yeah, no, I mean, I definitely, I grew up, with God in my life, with my family, and I grew up in that, and then I was sent away to a wilderness treatment teen facility, and it was also, a Catholic facility. We went to mass every morning, and they definitely used this facility, not speaking for everyone who's Catholic, but they definitely used the facility and God's word as like punishment and, of what you're doing wrong. And we had this thing called like Holy Cowgirl, where we sat every Friday and everyone went around saying what you're doing wrong and like how, and it wasn't like constructive criticism. It was like, no, you're doing this, just everything. And like the staff member called me Hollywood because I was from Orange County and um, my family, my stepdad, he was wealthier, but he grew up, I mean, my stepdad grew up extremely poor. So from like he worked his butt off for what he has. And but a lot of times people are like, wow, Laguna Beach, like you've had it so great, da, 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 a lot of judgment. And I got judged for that, there. But yeah, basically it was very, very abusive. The place was actually recently just shut down and I was there for 2 years and we had to like it was just a very, very crazy experience, but they did use religion and God as, a punishment of what you're doing wrong. And it wasn't of love. It was just yeah, I mean, it
just
was
evil.
abusive. Yeah, it was crazy. But even in those times though, it's like because I remember I mean we even had to carry this cross up this like crazy mountain. Like and I was only 15 years old, carrying this huge wood, extremely heavy cross. This is like why I have back issues, my from everything that I went through there. But they just yeah, they just broke you down and they used God with that. But I will say, like, because I did at a young age have a relationship with God. I could still feel him through all that. And when I did come home, I was very angry. I'm not going to say that I wasn't, and I was lost for many years after that. But I have always felt like I've had this very deep spiritual connection. Like the moment I walk into church or the moment I hear worship music, I literally cry. Or if I hear someone else's story, it just like, I feel it so deep in my soul. Like I know the Holy Spirit, all of that. Like I literally, I don't even know. I've always been very sensitive to, and I feel like that went hand in hand even with my addiction because I didn't really know how to like deal with things. I was just sensitive internally. But yeah, I don't know. I later was obviously able to turn my life around and walk with God again. And, but it is hard. It's hard when you go through something like that and people, use religion and use God, as judgment and, control in a sense too. So I don't really know where I just I just went off
No,
off track.
no. It,
Always good. Your story is just it blows my mind. It just absolutely blows my mind. Something that I was it's saying here in the devotional and I know that for a lot of people it takes a second. So you might be newer and kind of diving into all of it and trying to figure out what it all means and trying to connect to him, and maybe you just feel like you don't you're not quite feeling him yet, and you hear all these other crazy stories and you're like, gosh, that sounds really cool, but he just seems a little quiet to me. Like I just haven't experienced that moment yet, or whatever it is, and just know there's more days like that than when you feel him come down and it's like, girl, we're pivoting, we're shifting, we're this, we're that, right? Because as you're learning, as you're diving in, as you're drawing closer to him, that's the journey part, right? And he's like, yep, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep pursuing me, keep pursuing me. And then when he feels like, okay, now it's time. Now you're ready. Now it's time. Like then all of a sudden you'll feel that kind of catapult where you're like, oh, I need to like abruptly change something. For me, it's happened several times. I can remember each one of them very specifically, and I didn't stall. I moved like immediately, and that it's always paid off tenfold. But if you are just diving in, it just still you're doing your best. Please understand that he sees that. Please understand that he sees those efforts and they mean so much to him, and he's so proud of you and that he loves you so much. And he's smiling every single time that you are just trying, even if you're struggling to try and understand it or struggling to try and like it's just not fully clicking yet, or you don't really know what you're doing, but you're trying. And just like we would with our kids, if we just saw them trying, right? Like they're trying to walk and they keep falling over and they keep falling over. We don't look at them and say, man, gosh, you're just not getting it. We're like, we see it, right? That little bit of progress, that little bit of progress. And maybe they don't fully see it, but we see it as their parents. And that's how God is too. He sees you, He sees those efforts. And even if you're still fumbling, you're still tripping, you're still like, you haven't quite learned to walk and then to run and all those things yet, like he sees it and he's proud and he's just like, okay, girl, get back up, just like we did when we watched our babies learn all of their first. It's exciting. We're working with them, and he's doing the same for you. And then once you're walking and then he starts showing you the run and all of the other skills in the tool sets, it's very similar. That's how he views us, but to the degree that we thought it was, when you like your kids do something and you feel like simultaneously you could bite into their cheeks, but you also just want to scream because you love them so much, but you also just want to run around. It's like you're so obsessed. You just, everything they say, they're like, you just think it's the best thing that you ever heard. He, which is unbelievable, loves us 800 even times more than that. So he's just proud and he's never ashamed or feeling like you're failing, even though we as women tend to always feel like we're failing. I mean, we could be doing everything even somewhat right, and we will still go to bed feeling like we're failing and wondering how we can be better. And it's a beautiful thing about us. We always want to be better, but we're really hard on ourselves. And I promise you, he is not nearly, if at all, hard on us at all. He's proud. He just wants to see the effort and he loves the effort and he's strengthening you every single day, even if we don't fully feel that yet. And he'll reveal different things to us at different times and it won't feel so confusing. I don't know. I still feel pretty confused all the time. And then all of a sudden he'll give me clarity and I'm like, okay, but he'll never give me full clarity, just enough clarity to like do one more action step. And I'll do that action step. And then he'll give me a little more clarity. And I'm just like, okay, yep. I thought I'd have it a little more figured out by now. But every day he confuses me all over again. Okay. But I think that that's the beautiful part about it is like just constantly revealing new things and just know that you are like so loved. If you knew how perfectly and incredibly beautiful he viewed you to be inside and out, like we would just never view ourselves the same way again. So that's my goal. Also, going through this is that you guys can start to see your reflection, even 1% the way that he sees it, and start falling in love with yourselves the way that he loves you. And just know that, even showing up on this call, he's smiling on all of us right now. Like, I know you guys are tired.
Being a part of the Bible study, I mean, that's a huge, huge, huge thing. The majority of people either don't have a Bible, haven't opened a Bible, maybe they've gone to church, maybe they've talked to somebody who's gone to church, maybe they've watched some things or read a devotional, but like actively being in your Bible daily, you are doing something that the majority is not, regardless of how strongly you feel him or not at all. He was silent for me for years, for years. And I would feel sometimes so frustrated.
I know. I remember when we would talk about that, and it's just like, well, I've been like praying on this every night, every night, every night. And it's just like, I'm just not hearing anything yet. And it's like, it comes when he is ready for it to
And,
come.
and it's not something where it's like all of a sudden a voice is going to
Mhm.
talk in your ear. It's, you know, but like also don't, it's so different for every person. Like for me, it's like a very weird, crazy feeling that I just like takes over my body and I'm just like instantly in chills or like a dream or certain things where I'm just like,
You've
okay,
always had crazy dreams.
yeah, it's weird. But everybody is also going to have a different relationship and a different type of conversation, if you will, with him. So you don't think in your mind he isn't moving with you if you're not quote unquote not hearing him. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
and it's those moments in time where you know something, it's like all of a sudden you're just like, I should say something to that person, or I should that I should and sometimes we kind of panic and we don't because we're like, no, like we're crazy. That's not like He talks to everybody very, very, very differently, but it's just in these small intuitions and those Holy Spirit kind of like nudge and pulls, like I shouldn't be listening to this conversation right now. Or all of a sudden you get the ick when you're talking to somebody or like a friendship that you had or whatever. You just all of a sudden are like, oh gosh, why does that feel so weird this time? Like this conversation, like all of a sudden you just get the ick, and you can kind of feel like you're going crazy sometimes because everything starts icking you out that maybe didn't ick you out before, but it's just a hypersensitivity. But it could be dreams, it could be visions, it could be song. The way that he speaks to everybody is in so many different ways, and it's beautiful. But again, he crafted us and he made us, so he knows in the ways that we hear communication the best. So don't feel like you're gonna miss the mark. Sierra is a huge numbers girl. He knows us. And so that's how he, communicates different things to us. He'll make sure to meet you where you are and how you best communicate because he knows, because he made you that way. So he is fully aware. So don't discredit it if you're like, that's kind of weird. I heard this song and now I'm thinking all these things. Like, lean into it. Just pause. I feel you. I'm here. I love you.
oh yeah, 100%. So it's just one of those things where it's like keep your focus. I think like from the beginning of this conversation, I think we're just trying to emphasize like if you keep him your focus and you have that unshakable faith in a sense where it's like even if you're kind of questioning things, you're trusting it over and over and over and over, and you're really just staying on course. The things that you're looking for or the relationship you're looking for or the conversations that you're dying for or the movement that you want to see, sometimes always, you guys, if it's not happening, it's because it's not his will. So you just have to remember that, and it doesn't mean it never will. It just means it's not right now, or maybe what you're fixated on isn't really going to serve you. And it's just those reminders. And like learn right now we're doing our best. Okay. We're learning about him. We're learning the history of things. We're learning who he was. We're learning what he wants us to be. We're learning how he wants us to treat other people. We're truly doing our best. So just being here and doing that, just know like everything will make more and more sense the more you just stay with him.
Yeah, and he's not a genie in a bottle. Like you can't rub it and ask for a wish and then be upset if you don't get the wish. Listen, it doesn't work like that. It just do it'd be dope, but he's not a genie. He's like, I understand you want that. Sometimes he wants it for us too. Sometimes he doesn't, right? But he's also like, okay, cool. That's what you want. Well, sh prove it. Like if you're praying for financial change, prove it. You're praying for, to just get he's saying I'll be with you in that. That's your heart's desire, right? But there's work to do and he'll be along with us strengthening us in that work, but we have to do the work. Shay had to put in the work to overcome those different things, and she got stronger every single day having him with her along that, but she still had to put in the work. He didn't just one day was like, "You're sober," and she didn't have to do any labor for it. Like she had to work. And it's like, yes, I will bless that and I will bring you to the other side and give you more than you ever thought possible. But you got some work, to do. We can't skip the work. He loves a hard worker. Okay, so sometimes some of us, he's been calling
Yeah,
us
I
to do
know.
things that we haven't done. And we know that. I feel like there's been many times in my life where I know what I need to fix. I know. I know what I need to fix and I haven't fixed X, Y, and Z. So I know that once I do, we'll get to the other side. It's still fine tuning all the time. So he's not a genie. He hears you, but he's like, okay, let's keep going. Okay. Check in with me again tomorrow. Do you still want it? All right. I'm going to tell you to fix some things.
Yeah, and he gives us free will, so it's like we do make a lot of choices, and it's kind of having that in our mind of like, okay, there's going to be a consequence to some of the choices, and it just, so it's like reminding yourself of we also can kind of reroute our plans sometimes over
All
and
the
over.
time. And it's like, how many times do we want to keep doing that? You know what I mean? It's like, I was sick of being rerouted and I knew it. I'm like, here I go. Now I'm gonna have to walk on the same loop. Shell knows, oh, I'm entertaining somebody I shouldn't be entertaining. Guess what? I had to start all over again. And I had just got through healing and over and over. And it's like, no, no, no more. Like, otherwise, I'm living the same year on repeat over and over. And I don't want to live like that because his time clock works a little bit different. It almost goes by change to change to change. Whether that takes you 5 years to do the one thing he's asking you to do, or 1 year, like he can only go outside of that. He doesn't work in years time frame. He works in one event to the next event to the next event. You fix this, we go here. You fix that, we go in. Boom, 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 boom. And I've derailed myself so many times. I mean, I'm sure all of us have because we're not perfect, right? But the larger that he's calling you to, sometimes the bigger of things that you have to pivot and change. And it's scary. I mean, some of you guys might be facing things right now that we know absolutely nothing about, and it's petrifying, but there's some of you that know exactly what you need to do, but then you overthink it and then you just get into comfort again. And it's like, no, but today's fine. Everything's going good today. And then tomorrow everything wigs out again. You're like, I know I need to do X, Y, and Z, and you don't. Right. And it's just comfort can sometimes be a killer, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna add, because Taylor, you were kind of going on about, having to do the work, and I was just thinking of that and just so many different times in my life, whether it was, with addiction, like there definitely was a long road. And there was a point in when I got in trouble and I was like, okay, I could have gone two routes. I could have gone upstate and stayed comfortable because at the time it was comfortable for me. I knew plenty of people in custody. I knew people upstate and I could get drugs in jail. So for me, it was like, and my self-esteem was so low that I was constantly fighting as much as I loved my daughter. My ex-husband, or at the time still we were separated, but he was doing everything to hurt me.
Mm.
And, I had years of just baggage all the way back from when I was at that facility, for 2 years, never dealt with that stuff, never dealt with the stuff from my childhood. So it was like I had this love that I had for my daughter, but I didn't love myself, and I didn't have a foundation of how to like take care of me, let alone did I know how to take care of her. So it's like the devil and this darkness that I was sitting in for so long was like, no, just go be with the other people that you're comfortable with that are telling you that this life is okay, and stay numb on drugs. And then, there was God, because I was praying at that point, because there was a part of me that just felt like I surrendered. Like I was almost happy I got arrested because I was so burnt out, and I didn't know how to get clean, but I wanted to get clean. And it was this constant fight, And so I just kept telling myself, like, I never have to do this again, but I had to like do the work. When I tell you I lost everything, like I lost everything. I lost, all my stuff. I lost custody of my daughter. My boyfriend ended up dying while I was in jail. And I just felt like everything was gone. And all I knew is I wanted her, and I needed to do the work. And so once I served my time, I had to at least do a year. I had visitations with her and my daughter, and I just took it literally sometimes 1 hour at a time. I didn't have a license. I was in drug court. I had to get to all these meetings. I had to take the bus. I had to wear a drug patch for custody court. And then I also had to test 3 times a week for drug court. And so I just was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. And that is where the work comes in. And I
The
prayed and I
work also
God,
helped you
yes,
stay on the path.
yes,
You have to
yes,
be working hard and it keeps you going, going, going. And that
yes.
grind, it saves you.
100%. And that structure, like that helped me. And then it was like, there was just so much. There was so much. And so, yeah, so when it came to my addiction, there was also a lot of doors that shut, a lot of friendships, a lot of things, because I was willing to do what I had to do. And that's why sometimes it does get uncomfortable, and this goes hand in hand with like relationships or divorces, or if with a significant other that doesn't align with who you want to be. And I'm not saying that, I'm not like for divorce, like, right, we want to have our marriages work and stuff like that, but it's like if there's abusive relationships and you're asking God to take the lead, and sometimes it does get uncomfortable and there's doors that shut and it's hard and it's hurtful, but he has so much more in store for you, and it's like even through my life, like I went through that, and then I went through the separation, and I went through having to build that relationship with my daughter again. And she's like my little best friend, she's with me full time. And I had to do a lot of work there too. Thank God she was still young, when we went through all this. She doesn't remember any of it. But I also had to build myself for who I wanted to be. Now I have 2 other children, and I'm married, and it looks nothing like the marriage I had before, but it's constant work. And then I feel like even God putting me a part of this Bible study, like this is something that I've been praying for this last year, as I like really was lacking. Like there was a time where we were so involved in the church, and then some stuff happened within the church, and we kind of didn't align with that. So my husband and I left that church, and then we were kind of just not doing much. In this last year, we were like, we really need to get involved again. And we would go to a few different churches. We went to like Beach City, or not Beach Cities, that's where we go now. We went to Oceans and a few other ones, and we just didn't feel that like connection. When you feel that connection with the church, like the worship, just like everything, we weren't like feeling that. And so we finally found that at this church that we're at now. But I've been like praying to dive back into community. And then all of a sudden this happened with Taylor and Shelly. And it was like God just opens these doors as you put him first and you want to lead with him. You know what I mean? So it's like when I look back, because I've been sober over 10 years, and I look back at all of the different chapters, and it's just like God is so good. And there
And
was,
not one of those times does it look like it's going to be a good time. Like
yeah,
it hasn't ever looked like it was going to be a good time. I also lost everything in my decisions to do what I needed to do for me and my family. Everything. All of it completely gone, right?
yeah,
Homeless, didn't have a car, like I had nothing I could have, when I technically had absolutely everything, or how that would appear or look like. And so it didn't, it actually looked horrible. And a lot of people, that possibility of like, well, what am I going to do? That's kind of the point. We don't really know. But we know what we need to do, and we just step out, and it's seems crazy, but it's because I didn't know, and because of the grind, and the grind I still need to invest every single day. I have to have that, and God knew that. I do not do good idle. I do not do good with hands free. Not a ton to do on my plate. It is not good for me. It is not the way He built me. It is not the way He created me. And I am my own worst enemy. And so I will absolutely, I'm so constantly needing to be creating, doing something that if I didn't, I will completely self implode. And so He knew that I needed all of these things. He knew it needed to be hard. He knows it continues to need to be hard because that's how He built me. That's what keeps me tight along with Him. So it's not saying it's going to be easy. It's saying it's going to be beautiful. And as I'm sure Shay could agree, it doesn't mean it's going to be this simple, easy, beautiful. But oh my gosh, I would not change anything about. I love and I'm obsessed with every aspect of my life that I would have never chose for myself. I wouldn't have even known that I had this in me, right? And so He revealed all of those gifts to me because He saw what He wanted me to do. So you might not even know the version of yourself that is He sees. That's what He sees. He's like, I know why I built you. I know why I created you. You've been smacked around, kicked down, okay, but I know what you're meant to be. But you gotta, it's gonna hurt a little bit, okay? But I'm gonna utilize that and turn that around. So you are gonna build around you the most beautiful life that you have could ever desire. And you're gonna be somebody that you're proud of, and you're going to be able to help a lot of people through that. And so that's the way that He works. So don't be scared if things start kind of falling apart. Kind of smile and know something beautiful is coming from this. Don't be scared of it shaking. You're tough. You can handle it. You're a tough woman. You've got it. And He knows that you've got it, and you can handle absolutely anything with Him next to you, which is the point. So don't get scared if things start going a little haywire. Okay. Smile. Okay. Check in with your people that are all around you right now. And that's why we're all here, is to be next to each other. Okay.
And that's where we end.
Yeah, it's Sunday night. Go be with your babies. Go enjoy your evening. I kept seeing Ryland's little face. I about died.
She kept going, Auntie Tay Tay.
I know. I could tell that's what she was saying. She was like, and I didn't want her to think I was
And
ignoring her.
like, tell her she never called me back. I was like, oh my.
Oh, pumpkin. I know. We just walked in the door and then came on here. We'll FaceTime him right now.
Okay. Well,
Okay, ladies.
have the best.
Love you all so
Thank you
much.
so much for coming on.
Yeah, maybe Sunday nights is a thing. There's more that we're able to pop on tonight than.
It's probably easier than the middle of the day, you know?
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. All
All
right, ladies. Well, we love you all so much.
love
right.
you, ladies.
Bye. Good night.